Good morning, everybody. Today's class is about blood pressure measurement. Blood pressure, by definition, it is the lateral pressure exerted by column of blood on the blood vessels. Now, let us see how is this pressure measured. For measuring this pressure, we need two important things. One, obviously, subject. Number two, sphygmomanometer and a stethoscope. Now, what is this sphygmomanometer? I'll explain to you. Sphygmomanometer consists of a mercury manometer, which is as usually a U-shaped tube. U-shaped tube which has two stems and a hairpin bend. So, any manometer, unlike any manometer, it has got two stems and a U-shaped hairpin bend. But here the stems are different. It has got one narrow and long stem and a broad and stout stem with a knob to control the flow of mercury into it. Now you can see here the narrow stem, it has got some numbers and graduations. These horizontal gradations. It has got gradations. One more important thing you can observe here is what is the value of each gradation. Like you have seen the value of gradation in hemoglobin estimation. You have seen gradations in RBC, WBC, pipette. What are the units for them? It is different. Hemoglobin, what each division of that tube represent? It is 0.2 milligram per deciliter. How we are saying? Because in the two consecutive readings, there are only 5 markings. So between 10 readings, there are only 5 marks. So each mark on this narrow tube represents 2 millimeters of mercury. How much does it represent? 2. Yes, 2. So now you have learned about the narrow stem of the manometer. Next, about the broad stem. Now you can see here this side. This is the stout and short stem of the manometer, and this is the knob which helps in turning on. When this knob is turned on, the mercury flows into the narrow stem of the manometer. Now this stout stem of the manometer is also called as mercury reservoir. What it is called? Mercury reservoir. Now this mercury reservoir is connected to a rubber tubing. Now this rubber tubing is connected to a cuff. A cuff, like hand cuff are there, no? Similarly, a cuff is there which encircles the arm. Now this cuff consists of a cloth inside which there is a rubber bladder. Now this rubber bladder has got two outlets for two tubings. One tube goes to the manometer, another tube goes to a rubber bulb. Rubber bulb has a screw which acts as a valve for letting in air and letting out the air. With the help of rubber bulb, by squeezing the rubber bulb, the air can be pushed into the rubber bladder present inside the cuff. Rubber bag present inside the cuff. So by pumping the air inside the rubber bladder inside the cuff, we increase the pressure and decrease the pressure. When we want to decrease the pressure, we simply unscrew the screw present here near the rubber bulb. That is about sphygmomanometer. Next thing what we need is a stethoscope. Stethoscope, as you know, it consists of a headset and a chest piece. Headset has got earpiece, metallic tube and a flexible rubber tubing. Now this rubber tubing is attached to chest piece. Chest piece has two parts, a diaphragm and a bell. That is about the apparatus. Now coming to principles. The principle is very simple here. We know principle of any scientific experiment is very simple. We know unknown from what is known. So what is known is the amount of pressure being changed in the air bag, and what is unknown is the pressure inside the artery. So the basic principle here is, for measurement of blood pressure, it is measured by using a manometer by balancing the rubber bladder cuff. By balancing the pressure inside the rubber bladder cuff against the selected artery. So the principle here, it is very simple. It consists of balancing the air pressure inside the rubber bladder of the cuff against the pressure inside the artery. How it helps us? You can see when the pressure is increased, the artery is squeezed, and when the blood flows with maximum pressure, and when it is squeezed, when the artery is squeezed, the blood will flow only with maximum pressure. Now what is maximum pressure? The maximum pressure with which blood flows during each cardiac cycle is the definition for systolic blood pressure. And when this cuff is completely open, the air pressure inside the cuff is completely deflated. At certain point, the blood flow inside the artery at a minimal pressure. So minimal pressure at which the blood flows inside the artery during each cardiac cycle is diastolic blood pressure. So that is the principle of our today's experiment. That is, by balancing the air pressure inside the cuff, which is recorded with the help of manometer, against the pressure in the artery, we measure the blood pressure. Here you can see how it is done. When the pressure is maximum, when there is no blood flow, nothing is recorded. But when the pressure is slowly reducing, you can see there is maximum pressure, and then when it is completely deflated, the blood flow is flowing with minimum pressure. That is the principle of today's experiment. Now coming to procedure. Procedure is very simple, but there are few important things what we should remember and do it in step-by-step manner. First step, gather all the equipment including paper and pen for recording the blood pressure. You take the basic things like age, name of the person, time, all these things you should record. And you should gather the equipment. Number 2 is wash your hands. Now it's a corona issue, it's very coronavirus, you might be knowing. How important is washing hands. So not to transfer the infection from one patient to another patient, it is very important to wash the hands. Next is prepare the participant by telling what you are doing. Next, relax them. Let them relax for 5 minutes. Next step is position them either in sitting or recumbent position. Next, remove the clothing and expose the extremity which you are on which you want to measure the blood pressure. Either arm or leg, or left arm or right arm. And next, you check the size of cuff what you want. Like small children, you need say different size of cuff, whereas obese individual, you need different size of cuff. So in this video, we'll see how to do all these steps.
Can I just check your name and age, please?
Yeah, my name's Andrew and I'm 25.
Yes. Nice to meet you, Andrew. Today I'd like to take your blood pressure, so that will entail me taking this cuff, inflating it around your arm, feeling and listening to your pulse. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
It might be a little bit uncomfortable, but it shouldn't hurt.
That's fine.
Are you okay for me to go ahead?
Yeah.
Lovely. You just pop your arm on the table, that's lovely.
Yes, that was all the steps done very precisely by that person. Now we'll see the procedure for palpatory method. First, for palpatory method, we put the cuff at the center of the arm, center of the extremity, over the artery, around the arm, with lower edge of the cuff about 3 centimeters above the cubital fossa. One more thing, important thing you should remember, that mid part of the bladder inside the cuff should lie over the brachial artery. It is very important that not the mid part of the cuff, but the mid part of the bladder should overlie the brachial artery. Next step, check the mercury column of the sphygmomanometer whether it is adjusted to 0 or not. How it is done, we'll see. And then sphygmomanometer is placed at the level of See, in this experiment, you can see the extremity is exposed on which the blood pressure has to be measured. Next, the person is allowed to sit for about 5 minutes. And then the cuff is tied, not too tight, not too loose, over the arm. Yes, you can see the middle part of the bladder is being tied over the brachial artery, about 3 millimeters above the cubital fossa. This is cubital fossa, and 3 centimeters above the cubital fossa, the cuff is tied. And then we check whether the mercury is at level of 0. Now we go for the next step. Next step in palpatory method is locate the artery by palpating, and we locate radial pulse. Then close the air valve and rapidly inflate the cuff by pressing the rubber bulb and raising the mercury column. Next, look for the level of the mercury where pulse disappears. Then raise the pressure about 30 millimeters of mercury higher than that and slowly deflate it. Then mark the level of the mercury at which pulse reappears after it disappears. This point is noted as systolic blood pressure by palpatory method. Immediately release the pressure in the cuff. And now we'll see the method how it is done. See, you can see here she is trying to palpate the both brachial artery and radial artery. Brachial artery lies just medial to bicipital tendon. You can ask the subject to flex his hand and you can feel the pulsations just medial to the bicipital tendon. And for radial artery, just proximal to the styloid process, you can find the pulsations of radial pulse on the radial side of forearm. After you feel for the pulsations, you deflate and inflate. Next, after you record the blood pressure in the above said manner, you note down the values on right side and the left side. What did you find as a systolic blood pressure in millimeters of mercury? You cannot find diastolic blood pressure by palpatory method. Now the procedure for auscultatory method. From step number 1 to 10 are very same.
Can I just check your name and age, please?
Yeah, my name's Andrew and I'm 25.
Nice to meet you, Andrew. Today I'd like to take your blood pressure.
So
that will entail me taking this cuff, inflating it around your arm, feeling and listening to your pulse. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
It might be a little bit uncomfortable, but it shouldn't hurt.
That's fine.
Are you okay for me to go ahead?
Yeah.
Lovely. If you just pop your arm on the table, that's lovely. Fine.
Now the steps from step number 11 to 18. So first, the previous steps are very similar up to tying the cuff, but from step number 10 the process changes. In this step we locate the brachial artery and radial artery by palpation by the methods what I have said earlier. Next, close the air valve and then inflate the cuff and raise the mercury column to about a level around 30 millimeters of mercury above the palpatory level. For example, if you have found in palpatory level mercury level to be 100, at 100 you the radial pulse started appearing after it disappeared. Then, when you are measuring the blood pressure using auscultatory method, you increase the mercury level up to 130 and then slowly deflate it. Before deflation, you place the diaphragm of the stethoscope gently over the brachial artery. Remember, you have to place it gently over the brachial artery pulsations felt. Otherwise, and you should not apply too much of pressure. Now slowly release the mercury column by releasing the pressure at the rate of 2 to 4 millimeters of mercury per second. While decreasing the mercury level, auscultate for appearance, change in quality and disappearance of special type of sounds called as Kurott cough sound. Note the appearance of sound as systolic blood pressure and disappear of sound as diastolic blood pressure. When you are auscultating over the brachial artery, you will hear different type of sound called as Kurott cough sound. The appearance of this sound marks systolic blood pressure. The disappearance of this sound marks diastolic blood pressure. Immediately after you stop hearing the sound, deflate the cuff and close the sphygmomanometer and place it properly. Now we will see the video. You can see the stent is being placed over the brachial artery and then she is rapidly inflating and looking the mercury column simultaneously. Should inflate up to a level of 30 millimeters of mercury above the level what was found by palpatory method and then slowly deflate it. Now she is deflating it. Then note your findings. This is one more method of measuring the blood pressure by auscultatory method. You can see initially how he is doing. That is how you hear the Kurott cough sounds. After you record the blood pressure, you have to write your findings as follows. Put a tabular column. On the top, write down systolic blood pressure, diastolic blood pressure, pulse pressure, which is the difference between systolic blood pressure and diastolic blood pressure. And then mean arterial pressure. Mean arterial pressure is the sum of diastolic blood pressure plus 1/3 of pulse pressure. And this blood pressure is measured by auscultatory method and palpatory method on right side and left side. Then you note down your observation. Observation of blood pressure in the given subject is so and so dash by dash millimeters of mercury. On the numerator you write systolic blood pressure and denominator you write diastolic blood pressure. That is very important. Then you infer whether it is elevated, normal or subnormal. And after you complete the procedure of noting down, you thank the subject in the following way.
That completes the procedure. Thank you very much, Andrew.
Thank you.
And wash your hands.
To complete the procedure.
Now coming to what are Kurott cough sounds. Just now I was speaking that beginning of Kurott cough sounds marks systolic blood pressure and ending of Kurott cough sound marks diastolic blood pressure. Kurott cough sounds have got 5 phases. phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4 and phase 5. Phase 1 is faint tapping sound. You can see here these are faint tapping sound, then swishing sound, loud knocking, then muffling and then silence. Phase 5 marks the diastolic blood pressure. Now another important entity what you should know is auscultatory gap. Auscultatory gap is a gap of disappearance of Korotkov sounds when we are measuring the blood pressure. This is very important significance because it is the reason why we measure blood pressure by palpatory method first, then by auscultatory method. Now you can see here in this diagram or in this graphic that Korotkov sounds appear and then they disappear for some reason, and then again they reappear. Now if you are measuring directly by auscultatory method, you would be falsely recording the systolic blood pressure to be 130. Instead it is 170. So to avoid the problem of auscultatory gap and falsely recording low systolic blood pressure, we measure the blood pressure by palpatory method first, then by auscultatory method. Now another important thing which you should remember lifelong is these guidelines, American Heart Association guidelines and JNC 8 guidelines. If you have any doubts, you can ask me, you can message me. Thank you.